So in the next video, I'm going to talk about the spending multiplier and how that concept works in relation to GDP. The first thing that we have to know is what we're really trying to show here is this this multiplier effect. And the multiplier effect is this idea that there is a multiplying impact. We'll say we're trying to show the multiplying impact that an increase in spending has on the GDP. So if we were going to use an example along with this concept, let's say that we'll say Bill spends $1,000 to buy hot dogs. I don't know what else you'd want to spend $1,000 on. Now, we know that whenever someone spends money buying new products, that amount that gets spent automatically is going to increase the GDP by whatever is spent. So Bill spends $1,000, the GDP is going to increase by $1,000. But the idea of the spending multiplier or this multiplier effect is that when there's an increase in spending, like $1,000 in the economy, that money that is being spent is actually going to have a multiplying impact on increasing the GDP. And to be able to figure this out, we have to know what we call the spending multiplier. So mathematically, the spending multiplier is equal to 1 over MPS. And the MPS is equal to, or really represents, the, we'll call it the percentage of money of money that an individual, we'll say, that is saved when new income is received. The new income is received. And so what we're saying here is that the MPS represents that when someone gets money, $1,000 or $100, the MPS represents how much of that money, that new money that they received, that they are going to save. And that is related to another term, which we call the MPC, and that equals the percentage of money spent when new income is received. Is received. And so just like the MPS, the MPC tells us if an individual receives new money, this is the dollar amount of that new money that they are going to go and spend. Okay? And we have to understand that there's a relationship between MPS and MPC. and that they always equal 1 or 100%, depending if we're expressing the numbers as a decimal or as a percentage. So if we go back to our example here, okay, and I'm just going to pick these numbers randomly. We've got Bill spending $1,000, and let's say that in our example here that the MPC is equal to 80%. Now that means that when people in this economy that Bill's living in, when people receive new money, they're going to spend 80% of that new money. And that must mean then that if MPS and MPC are equal to 100%, that the MPS must be equal to 20%. Okay? So now we can determine what our spending multiplier is. The spending multiplier is always equal to 1 over the MPS, which in this situation would be 1 over 0.2. And 0.2 goes into 1 5 times. So we would say for our scenario that 5 is our spending multiplier. Now, the importance here is that we want to take the amount that Bill is going to spend, which is $1,000, $1,000 times our spending multiplier, which in this scenario is 5, and that gives us an answer of $5,000. The significance of $5,000 is that based on this multiplier effect, if someone spends $1,000 like Bill did in our economy, that $1,000 is going to be multiplied throughout the economy and be able to increase the GDP by up to $5,000 over a period of time. Because remember, let's say that this $5,000 then represents the max GDP change. It's the maximum amount that the GDP can change because of the $1,000 that were spent and this multiplier concept.